All right, so the question of the morning was, how can I potentially even add a shadow onto that shape? And I'm going to show you basically how to do that right now. So probably a very simple way of doing it. Let me just get rid of this guy and put him off the, oh. There we go. I'm going to go ahead with my ellipse tool, and I'm going to drag sort of an elongated ellipse. Now again, depends on how long. Remember, the shadows can be very long. They could be very stubby. But I'm going to give sort of a finish like this, where it's about twice the width as it is the height. Okay, that I have filled with like a black or a charcoal gray. Any of that really works fine. When you angle it, you want to think of it as being opposite to that where that light source is coming in. So as you can see here, I have it on its own layer. I have it on its own layer. I created a new layer, and I can go ahead and pop that one in. And right now it looks like a very hard-edged shadow. This would be like a really super strong light. These are the shadows that are usually really tight into the surface right next to that particular shape. So a lot of times we do see a little bit of fuzziness on there. So once again, I missed saying that at the beginning. Sorry, I made a new layer. I dragged it underneath. Just kind of made it easier for me to manipulate it by itself. Okay. Is it necessity? Not total necessity, but it does help. So I'm going to grab that guy, and we can go into our effects, and we can actually blur him. And we can give a simple, it's called a Gaussian blur. And I need to decide how much blur I'm going to give that. I can preview it. This is a little bit of blur. That's only 5 pixels. As I go up, you can see that that increases, and it becomes much, well, here it becomes ridiculous, but it becomes much more diffused at those edges. So you want to think about what works the best for your particular piece. Okay, so that one in particular, and then I would sort of work at angling, because we want to make sure that this is not like that, for example. This would be a shadow that would be ineffective for this particular shape, because it doesn't match up. You're not matching the contours with where this shadow is. If this shadow were down here, for example, we could guess that, move it kind of straight underneath there, we could guess that this ball might be up in the air, causing a shadow. If I could rotate this guy and put his, oh, he really rotated kind of funky, sorry about that, and put his bright spot up top and his darker area here, I might be able to feel that a little bit more. So again, those are the things you want to think about. But again, you'll see right here, I'm going to want to take a look at this edge and allow that shadow to sort of flow from this edge in that nice curve down into here. So you can see it's almost a continuous from this side over. I can stretch it a little bit if I want to. I can even make it a little bit wider if I want to. But again, that's really how you're going to get an effective shadow. You can also reduce the transparency of this, and we can talk about that in the future. You could make that a lighter value. You could say, instead of reducing the transparency, maybe I'm just going to reduce the, the intensity of that gray, or make it quite dark, which I don't really think is very effective. So again, think about those things as you are going. That's one way you can start to add shadows and kind of have a little bit more fun with giving it volume and going back to your drawing days.